the stage Juan Carlos Castillo and Daniel Miranda. Juan Carlos can do it on this one. Juan Carlos is going to talk about whether female students underestimate their technological abilities.
Thank you very much for coming to this presentation. Well, obviously this is a very heterogeneous panel, so I'm now talking about something totally different from the previous two presentations, but still it's in the area of education, and actually that's one of the reasons why we're interested in presenting this here, because we come from, the others here, I'm doing this together with Daniel, who is in the audience, and Nicolas Barber from sociology, and we're quite, interested in getting feedback from experts in education. Well, the title is "Do Female Students Underestimate Their Technological Skills?" We're looking at gender differences in general and specialized digital self-efficacy at school. So there's a lot of concepts, kind of a niche area of research. Okay, so it's more here, and this as a context, this is part of a larger research project which is called NUDOS. It's about digital opportunities and inequalities. We started actually 1 year ago, a little more. There's a larger group of researchers from communication, political science, and social sociology. And we're part of one of the research lines, which is dealing with social inequalities in the digital sphere. And we're developing there this area of research where we look at schools and inequalities in school in relation with digital skills in knowledge and competencies. So, so the starting point for representation, as we all know probably, there are gender inequalities and prejudices which are also reproduced at school level. It's a very large area of research, I think particularly in social psychology. Also from this area we have this concept which is the female technological stereotype threat. It's a process by which there are prejudices in society. In the case of females, there are some prejudices regarding the performance of females in educational domains and also at work, and this also becomes a threat, and people get anxious and end up kind of confirming this prejudice because they underperform under this pressure of being in an environment full of prejudices. So, but we don't know whether this kind of stereotype persists as women increase literacy, and as we know, many educational studies, females outperform males. This is not actually an exception in digital skills. And the third aspect that I want to highlight at the beginning is about the compositional effects, which are also an area of studying in education. Where there is some evidence that women and female girls in classroom increase performance and satisfaction when surrounded by women. Partly explained by this stereotype threat. And the question is whether girls support girls in this environment. That's why they perform better in this case. So, but what about now digital skills? There are these gender differences in general in technological areas, which are characterized, and also mathematics, performance in different educational tests. Girls tend to outperform males, and this is actually the case here. And these differences are kind of attenuated on time and in digital skills, and also females are outperforming boys at school. But despite these higher literacy rates and good performance indicators in digital skills, at the same time girls show less confidence in their abilities than male students. So there's a kind of gap between this objective, if you might say so, abilities and knowledge about the digital area. And the self-confidence of that. So they kind of don't believe really that they are capable of this the skills. And we take this kind of borrow this concept, very traditional from social psychology, which is self-efficacy, defined by Bandura as a functional self-awareness in which students reflect on their personal efficacy, thoughts, actions, the meaning of their pursuits, and make corrective adjustments if necessary. So this is the main question of this work in progress. 2 girls show lower digital self-efficacy despite better digital knowledge and skills. So this kind of persists, you know, this objective, subjective, you know, gap in the digital area. And we have some hypotheses here. I don't know if you can highlight this here. Yeah. Our main object study with dependent variables is the digital self-efficacy. And we take computer literacy, which reflects kind of the objective knowledge on the digital area. And we expect that, you know, the more you really know, the better you perform in this digital test. That should increase your self-efficacy, but that might be negative for females, so that's why we have a negative hypothesis there. And we also have some more, you know, contextual hypotheses about this proportion of female students, which can actually affect how females or the girls in the classroom perform, and also how this affects also their self-efficacy. And we're using this large-scale data, which is ISIL's International Computer Information Literacy Study from 2018. There are 12 countries. Chile is participating there, and actually there's a new round of this study, which is going to be launched, I think, in 1 month or something, in November. So we're looking forward for that, because I think there are 30-something countries, so it's a larger data set. And there's a questionnaire on access, use, perceptions, and attitudes toward information and communication technologies. And we focus on self-efficacy, and they have a battery there asking to what extent can you perform each of these tasks. And they have 2 kind of variants. One is the basic, asking about edit digital photographs or other graphic images, edit text, search, find relevant information on the internet, etc. And there's another set of questions linked to advanced abilities, like create a database, build or edit a web page, create a computer program, and set up a local area network of computers or other ICT. And this is some distinction that I think is not really usual, in this area. So we were really interested into, to have a look at how these 2 kind of flavors of self-efficacy show variation in terms of difference between boys and girls. So we're taking these 2 separately. So then about the results, this is about just to show the results in this computer literacy test, which is for us actually an independent variable, but still I think it's interesting to show that also in the case of Chile, it confirms that girls outperform boys in this test. So it happens also internationally. It's not really something new. And here's some descriptive results about this battery of items for the general self-efficacy, the first set of items, and here the specialized self-efficacy. And we can see here that, there's, in the graph, for the bars, this more black one represents, I do not think I could do this, I have never done this, and I know how to do. So this white part represents kind of the self-efficacy evaluation of the item. And this would be the more difficult ones, the more easy ones. So most of the boys and girls can write or edit text, search and find information on the internet, and so on. And of course, as we could expect, for the specialized or more advanced self-efficacy, boys and girls feel less confident. For instance, create a computer program, which is a very advanced ability for self-efficacy, or create a database, set up a local area network, and so on. So then, you can see here that actually they reflect what one would expect. Yeah? That the self-efficacy, especially in the case of the specialized, the few students can really say that they feel confident about it. And now the most, I think, important part, which was also the most interesting part of the paper, I think, for us, are the differences between boys and girls in general self-efficacy and specialized self-efficacy. And as we can see here, I mean, the triangle are the girls, and we see the differences between boys and girls in each of the items. And here, for the general or more basic aspect of digital skills, girls are most of the items above boys, so they feel actually more confident than boys in general self-efficacy, whereas the opposite occurs for the specialized self-efficacy. So I think here you can clearly see that, I mean, for us we didn't really get it. We thought it was kind of funny that boys feel so confident, because you see here, set up a local area network, and boys are like way better than females. And we don't know really whether this is, I mean, this is a measure of efficacy, but also kind of, you know, reproduces also the prejudices and beliefs that males are more capable. Although we know that in terms of performance or in the test, the females are the better. So I think this is for us was the most interesting part, you know, this because it's kind of, you know, paradoxical. And this as well, I mean, we divided the sample in terms of schools in masculinized schools, mixed schools, and feminized schools. In terms of, I mean, masculinized schools are more than 2/3 of boys. This in between, this is more than 2/3 of females in the school. And it's also kind of counterintuitive for us, because we thought, I mean, females should feel more confident when surrounded by more girls, and actually the opposite occurs for the case of the specialized self-efficacy, and you see that actually girls are way above boys in masculinized schools, so not the other way around. So I think that this, I mean, it's kind of counterintuitive, but we have some thought about that, and we can share it at the end, and hopefully also in the conclusion. And we also run some models here to confirm some of these findings. And we see actually here that girls are below boys in this specialized self-efficacy. There's a relationship between the performance in the test, the digital skills, for the basic self-efficacy, but not for the advanced, which is also really interesting for us. Some also counterintuitive results regarding the school mean score in the test for self-efficacy, which is actually negative. We also have some thoughts about it, why this happens. And just to show here, I mean, this also for us interesting, which is the interaction between the gender and the masculinized school, which shows that for girls, I mean, they do better than, I mean, they have a higher advanced self-efficacy in environments with more males. So for the discussion, which is, I mean, for us it's really, I mean, a good opportunity to get feedback from you, but any ideas that you have, it's still work in progress, not published, so I think any idea from your side is more than welcome. So girls show lower advanced self-efficacy, controlling for literacy, so we're controlling for actual performance, and still girls show lower advanced self-efficacy. Students from school with larger average score in computer literacy show less self-efficacy, and we think that maybe this is because, I mean, when you're in a kind of a high maybe achievement school, you think that you're doing worse than the other student. That could be one reason. And this, I mean, we still have a question mark there, higher specialized self-efficacy for girls in masculinized schools. That could be maybe that, although in average they think that they are doing worse than boys in specialized or advanced tasks in digital domain. But maybe when they get to compare with the males, they realize, actually I'm not that bad, you know, maybe I'm doing it's the same than boys, or even better. So I think they have maybe more opportunity, or other possible explanation could be that they are, you know, kind of getting to this way of looking at their abilities by males, that they kind of, you know, see that, or they think that they could do even better than they do. So we're still, you know, thinking about that. So just to sum up, the take-home message could be that whether in terms of gender difference in self-efficacy at school, yes, I mean there are differences, but depends on the kind of self-efficacy. So we think that it's really important to make this distinction, because I mean actually there are other measurements of self-efficacy that combines these two aspects in just one scale. Like in PISA, right? In PISA, they don't do this distinction. So I think that there are two different things, and it's necessary to separate them in order to see how they behave in different groups, like girls and boys, and also to take into consideration the composition of the classroom. I think this is very important to this regard. So in future, for future research, I just said that we're waiting for this database, which is actually more, appropriate for international comparison. And in this version, we have 12 countries. We have more than 30. Italy is also there in this study, so I think it's really also interesting for international comparison. And we're having a look at the PISA data, because they also have interesting, items about digital skills at school. So thank you very much. If you want some more information, this is the website of the project, and also the repository where this presentation is also online. So thank you very much.